Before we start, YouTube analytics show that more than 85% of you guys aren't subscribed. So real quick before we start, don't forget to hit that sub button as it helps out the channel a lot. And with all that out of the way with, let's just jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to another top 5 video. For this one today, we'll be doing the top 5 hardest maps in COD Zombies. Now for this video, the criteria isn't going to be too specific. It is going to be based off of how hard it is to get to high rounds like 50 to 100 and how difficult the Easter egg is in terms of the steps themselves and also the boss fights if the map has one. We will also only be doing the Treyarch maps as I don't have enough experience when it comes to high rounds on the non-Treyarch games. So without a further ado, let's just jump right into it. Coming to our number 5 spot, we have Nuketown Zombies. Now, this map in particular doesn't have any sort of Easter egg, so we are going to solely be focusing on the high round aspect, which for this map is incredibly difficult. This map usually is referred to as the boot camp map for zombies if you want to get good at the game, because it relies on the player not being able to have Jug for around 20 rounds, depending on how lucky he is. To get to round 50 on this map, it isn't too bad because you do have the Ray Gun Mark II, which does make it a little bit easier to do than some other maps in COD Zombies. With the inclusion of Double Tap 2.0 and the DSR 50 as well, round 50 isn't actually too hard to get on this map. When it comes to round 100, however, that's when this map begins to be really difficult. There isn't really many options that you have to reach this round milestone. Now, one thing I will say about this map is that the hoarding areas at the backyards of each of the houses is actually pretty easy to play on. While it is tight to navigate through, once you figure out the pattern and the spawns, it can be somewhat easy. I feel like if this map had an Easter egg, I might put it a little bit higher up on the list, but because it doesn't, I can't put it higher than some of the other maps that are in Zombies. Regardless, this map is very difficult to play on as it can take 20 rounds just to get Jug, making it one of the hardest maps to fully set up on. Once you do have all the perks and a decent gun, however, it leans a little bit more on the easy side, but getting up to that moment can be a huge pain. So for that, we're going to be putting this map at our number 5 spot. Coming into our number 4 spot, we have Call of the Dead. Now, with this map, the big reason as to why it is considered one of the hardest is because of the high rounds. In terms of Easter eggs, it's not too challenging. You do have some steps that overall aren't easy to do and require some thought, but generally, if you know what you're doing, it can be pretty easy. When it comes to getting to high rounds, this map is one of, if not the hardest to get to round 100 on. It hasn't been done yet because the wonder weapons are too weak, George Romero is too strong and annoying to deal with, and there's no traps to kill these zombies effectively. Now, with this map, in solo, you have different options for getting into high rounds, whether that be killing George Romero and getting the Wonder Waff to kill these zombies a little bit more effectively, or just trying to damage it out with the Scavenger, which, regardless of which option you pick, either strat is going to take forever. Not only do you have to deal with all these problems when it comes to just killing these zombies, but you also have to deal with a lot of fog that rolls throughout the map, which can make it harder to navigate, and it's also just really annoying while you're training. Overall, when it comes to Call of the Dead, it is definitely one of the hardest maps when it comes to high rounds, for solo at least, and it also does have an Easter egg, which isn't the hardest to do, but it does make it a lot more difficult than most other maps. So for that, we're going to be putting this map at our number 4 spot. Moving to our number 3 spot, we have Blood of the Dead from Black Ops 4. Now, this map is the exact opposite when it comes to difficulty compared to Call of the Dead. While Call of the Dead has a fairly easy Easter egg and a difficult high round, Blood of the Dead has a very difficult Easter egg and a fairly easy high round. I remember when this map first launched and the Easter egg was solved, it took me and my friends 3 weeks to beat it for the first time, and when we finally did beat it, it took us 4 hours of gameplay for that match that we actually succeeded, which is the longest it ever took to do an Easter egg for me and my friends. I mean, less than about 5 to 10% of people who own this game have completed the Blood of the Dead Easter egg, which truly shows how difficult this Easter egg is, from the Morse code step to the Simon Says step. The whole process is very long and tedious to do. The only reason that I was able to do this Easter egg was because of a glitch that was found close to the month after the game launch, where instead of waiting until round 16 to get a Brutus with an electric slam, you can throw a monkey bomb instead and have the same effect. Even with this shortcut that saves about an hour of game time, it still took me and a full squad 4 hours to do the Easter egg. When I'm done with an Easter egg, I usually feel proud and accomplished, but with Blood of the Dead, the first thing that came to my mind was, thank God this is over. The only reason I'm not putting this map higher up on the list is because the high rounds on this map are really easy. You can get to round 100 really fast because you have so many ways to kill the zombies. You can use the trap in the spawn area, you can use the Matmagat, or you can use the Helion Salvo. There isn't too much of a challenge when it comes to getting to high rounds on this map. The only difficult part is actually setting up, but once you have everything, the high rounds are actually fairly easy. But the only reason I'm bringing this map to our number 3 spot is because of the very difficult and unfair Easter egg. Now moving to our number 2 spot, we have Shangri-La. Now I'm specifically talking about the Black Ops 1 version because in Black Ops 3, you have the 3-hit system and Gobblegums, which makes this map actually really easy. Now with Shang, it's not the most difficult when it comes to high rounds, nor is it the most difficult when it comes to doing the Easter egg either. With Shang, it comes down to the combination of both. The Easter egg is very difficult on this map because not only do you as an individual have to know exactly what you're doing, but so does everyone else on your team. This can lead to very annoying moments throughout your game because it takes only one person to not be on their A game to screw up this Easter egg. It's a different type of difficulty that I wish Treyarch would implement a lot more, as it requires zombies players to play in a different way and actually utilizes communication in the co-op mode. Not only is the Easter egg difficult, but the high rounds are not that easy either. When going for high rounds on Shang, you mainly have to rely on the baby gun, which is a good weapon that has the potential to be really effective. The problem is that the map layout can be extremely difficult to navigate as there isn't any decently good hoarding spots, so you do have to rely on fully utilizing the map to your advantage. And then these zombies can still attack you even when they're in their mini size from using the wonder weapon. Overall, when it comes to Shang, it isn't the hardest when it comes to the Easter egg because for the most part, the steps aren't too difficult, but it does require a lot of team communication and for everyone to be fully focused. In terms of high rounds, again, I don't think it's as difficult as some of the other high rounds in zombies like Nuketown or Call of the Dead, but with a wonder weapon that doesn't do any damage, traps scattered everywhere around the map, and an overall just bad map layout, it is by no means an easy map either. So for that, we're going to be putting Shang at our number 2 spot. And coming into our number 1 spot, we have Voyage of Despair. Now with this map, it is hard both when it comes to the Easter egg and with high rounds. Very similar to Shangri-La, except it's harder in both categories. The Easter egg consists of a lot of steps that require the player to constantly pause the game to write stuff down, which are never fun. This Easter egg has one of the hardest Easter egg steps in my opinion, which is the planet step, which requires a ton of research, memorization, pausing, and general zombie knowledge. Not only that, but once you finish all of these steps, you get a really difficult boss fight that is by far one of the hardest when it comes to zombies. Not only is the Easter egg really hard to accomplish, but so is getting to high rounds on this map. In order to get to round 100, you mainly have to rely on the Helion Salvo because there isn't an overpowered trap or wonder weapon that you can use on this map to blaze through the zombies, which makes it harder than Blood of the Dead in terms of high rounds. This map isn't totally impossible because you do have the Helion Salvo, which for this map in particular is almost like a requirement in order to get by. It deals a lot of damage against the Eye of Odin if you're doing the boss fight, and it's pretty much the only way that you can get to higher rounds because the wonder weapon is incredibly weak. Overall, when it comes to this map, it is very hard when it comes to doing the Easter egg and high round attempts. Compared to other maps, it's a top 3 when it comes to hardest Easter eggs and the hardest out of the BO4 maps to get to high rounds. So for that, Voyage of Despair is coming in at our number 1 spot for the hardest zombies map of all time. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. Check down the description as well for more zombie related videos. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.